Hey, hey, hi
Hey,
everybody.
Hey guys.
hey,
I make sure my
everyone.
my microphone is on.
Oh
I'm in a
Great.
new location today, and I brought my mic.
Oh wow,
yeah, it looks fancy.
Yeah,
that's
we're
much better background. That's the I think
yes.
you win for best background.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's virtual.
It's
It's so virtual that it's really advanced. You can touch
AI is really getting there. You can really feel like the depth is.
yeah. Wow, it's got all my clothes, strewn about. Like it'd be funny if eventually people start making backgrounds that are like the way their backgrounds are. Like the things they're
Oh,
trying to hide is the background.
That'd be so funny.
right.
Um, let's throw this in the Discord.
Like you're in a coffee shop, but your background is like a messy room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The kinds of things that crack me up.
Let's see. Let's throw this in the Discord. Do you want?
It is in the Discord. Went out like 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
Did you
nice.
not see it?
Um, I wonder why I don't get the notifications on the announcements channel. Maybe I need
Maybe I
it.
should switch to general.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I'm not a big Power Discord user before this, so I don't know what's really. I know like most people put announcements there and then general, but I don't know really. I thought
Yeah,
announcements would be like more high alert.
I think you're dating yourself. You're officially old. You don't use Discord, dude. Boomer.
I didn't use Discord till there's this Build Guild Discord channel. Are you in that, Bilal?
Uh oh, maybe I think I am. Wait, is that the one we did in Seattle?
Yes, yes.
I my thing with Discord is I'll join these channels and then I just never check. It's just one of those things I just never check. I have
I,
all of them muted. I just don't know how anyone does it unmuted. It's crazy.
I completely agree. I have like I look on my sidebar right now. I have 20 channels. There's us. There's this one about like the AI people in Seattle. There's the Notebook LM channel. There's the AI Tinkerers channel. There's the Stripe channel. The Remotion channel actually is a solid one
Yeah,
for
I
like.
actually get that's one of the some companies they just that's their first class. Like so, I go to them for emotion stuff. I'll go to Discord because they reply there. But if I try to any other channel, they don't reply. So I have to go to Discord for them.
Totally.
Discord.
No, yeah, no, it's helped me out with a solid number of bugs. There was a bug that I saw actually pop up again. I've only seen it once through Sentry, but there was like some issue with the audio or video generation in Jellypod,
Yeah.
and I posted a bug there, and they gave me some help, but couldn't figure it out. So it's still a bug.
Oh wow,
But
we'll
oh
get
well.
there.
Um, how your guys' weeks going?
That's good.
Good,
Nice.
good.
Finally, the sun is finally coming out in Seattle. So
Ooh, nice.
nice.
And you got a haircut?
I did. Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you. I always like try to. My goal is always to get to 2 months. And when you get old, like you realize like, oh wait, hair grows at different pace. So my like sides grow way faster than my top, and so I have to like somehow even that out. At the end, the last 2 weeks are like, just make it to 2 months so I can get a haircut.
That's
I love that you have like a goal for it.
I don't know. It's just trying to be cheap, I guess. I tried during the pandemic. I tried cutting my own hair, and that was a very big mistake. I was like, I was kind of glad that we had a lockdown. I'm like, okay, I don't have to go outside. This is great.
Nice. I'm
that's
I'm bad. I can go like 6 months without a haircut, and like I just convince myself that whatever hair I have now is like my new hair. Like
You
and
have
then I cut it, and then
you have a good hair though. You both of you guys have like nice hair, straight hair. I think just can fall. Mine just gets like Albert, and so I have to contain it.
the virtual background right now is helping out my hair a little bit. It's a little bit poofy on the sides if I turn it off, but I haven't gotten a haircut. So, like, probably 5 months now. It's nuts because
Wow.
I went home to Orange County to visit my parents, and it was like I was going home on a Friday morning and just to beat traffic, besides Friday night. And I scheduled a hair appointment for Saturday morning at like 10 a.m. And I got up 8 a.m. I'm just like on my computer going. Next thing I know, it's noon. I'm like, wait. And I got a message from this place. I'm like, sorry for missing your appointment. I'm like, no, I literally loved this lady that I go to. I was bummed. I was bummed.
Well, one interesting note is I think today we're going to be joined by less people. So our we sent an email blast right before this Weekly Wednesday, and our email delivery program decided to just put us into a queue and not send it. So everything is queued for 9:45 and still not sent. So more people are probably watching the recording this time. So I wanted to say a few quick highs. Hi to Blake. Hi to Pradeep. Hi to Franny. Hi to James. I'm thinking about all the people that I know. Hi to Marcus, who's been doing a lot of comments this week. All the folks. Bill, if you're here. Hi to Bill. And so yeah, all the folks that I feel like are constantly coming on and really supporting. So thanks to everybody.
Wonder why,
cool.
Wonder why this got queued. Do you know why that got queued?
No idea. Maybe it's a high volume time for their email server.
I mean, it shouldn't take more than a few seconds delay for that. They did. Speaking of recent, they just they bumped up the 72-hour limit to 30-day because they acquired this new company, Merge something, which is a scheduling startup. So they should get better with this stuff now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's cool. So that means that we can send some educational emails for 30 days now. We can send out some stuff directly to Resend.
I guess, yeah.
Heard it here first. More email hitting your inbox.
Yeah. Although apparently they have some scheduling issues, so I don't know. We gotta build some trust first.
That's true.
That's funny. Have you heard of there's that old internet joke that like every software like gets old enough to gets big enough to send email or something? Like every software becomes like an email sending platform.
I mean, it is kind of crazy because when Notion did Notion email, I'm like, what are you guys doing? I mean, it truly is like, I would say every productivity startup, the goal they converge to email, I think.
But even like I think about Meta. I think about now Google. Did you see this new update with Google? It's like pinging me. They added a noise to Gmail.
Oh,
and I'm like,
really?
they're trying to compete with Slack, maybe. I'm like, dude, I do not need a ping for every email that I get in my inbox. Like that is like a little. I had to mute it immediately. Like I muted it on like the second time I got something. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that would be super annoying. I met somebody last week at this Google Cloud. So like Google had their Next conference, it was like 2 weeks ago, and then
nice.
And then one of the reps, I didn't go to Next, but they had like a mini 2-hour kind of overview last week here in Venice. And one of the Google guys came down to their headquarters down in Venice, and they were just talking about all like the new updates to Gemini and like all these crazy things. They blew through so much stuff in that 2 hours. I got this little Google Cloud book, and they were talking about like these Google apps. I still can't find how to get to these things, which is wild to me. They were showing like how to build these like micro apps that were like integrated with Gemini and kind of can do all these automations, kind of like Zapier, but much more native to the Google ecosystem. I just found out.
What was the name of the service?
I can't. I don't remember.
But are you saying you could do within Google you can do if this then that, like if I get an email, maybe write a Word doc, a summary about it or stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah, no. So that actually, I think I know. That's Flow, right? Workspace Flow.
Workspace Flow. I'm gonna.
Because I have a friend. He's the product director at Google. He leads that effort, and he did that, and that was basically. And I think it's super powerful because Google has the ecosystem, and so you can do stuff like you send me an email, I can schedule a meeting, but also set up notes about what we're going to talk about meeting and all yada yada, all the good stuff, right? From automations, productivity. So I think it's powerful.
Yes, thank you for reminding me what this is. This is what it is. This is like awesome because You guys might have saw yesterday. I was setting up Zapier a little bit on the
I
social.
did see the Reddit one. I was like, oh wow, so you did get into Zapier. How was that? Was it hard, or is it easy to set up these integrations?
The easiest one was YouTube because it was direct integration. So every time you post on YouTube, we'll get a little notification in Slack. And then also now for everybody here in Discord, I made a social channel there. I'm just going to keep it to YouTube, so I won't spam everything because Jason does a lot of work on those videos, shorts and long form. I think
Right.
that's like the highest signal content that we're posting is probably on YouTube. So there'll be a channel in Discord there.
Oh,
But
that's-
yeah, so it's linked up to YouTube. Internally, we'll get a notification every time there's a video that goes out or short, and then Discord will get it also. So just subscribe over there.
That's
Get it
actually
on.
pretty fire. Oh, that's awesome. We have a
And-
social media feed. What about, I guess Twitter API probably has, but I mean, it's the same videos, I guess. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at Twitter's hard because of the API changes. There is one way I found to do it. It's kind of like I'm not going to do it because essentially it's a company that takes your Twitter feed, converts it into an RSS feed, and then we can subscribe to that. But it's kind of annoying. And then the other two things that we have is like the Instagram. So that's linked in to our business profile on Instagram. So we have direct connection to Instagram. And then that's why Jason yesterday I was talking about the Facebook thing, the page. So it's like all like synchronized under that single umbrella with like a single business profile. So we can have attributions across Instagram, Facebook, and then like just better monitoring of what everything's doing. Because Zapier is super powerful here. Like it was really cool that we can like extract data, we can attribute it into Posthog, we can do all these cool things. And so just this is hope for us to make the product better for all of you guys out there watching the stream. Check out Zapier, check out these Google Workspace flows.
Yeah. I mean, Zapier is, I gotta get more into it. There's this other one I like too, Trigger.dev, which is an open source version of Zapier, which Zapier at scale can get expensive, but it's not too bad, I think, for what we're doing. But it's just, I love how far you can get with if this then that, basically.
Totally.
My buddy, there was this OG app called IFTT. I don't know if you ever used it, but on the phone you could do stuff like get pings, or if the weather is over 70 degrees or stuff like, just fun stuff. But sounds kind of simple, oversimplifying, but life is basically a bunch of if this then that rules.
And what's so crazy about this too, in like the world of AI agents, like everyone's talking about agents, right? At the end of the day, it's just a big branch of if then that, with just a little bit of language understanding.
Yes.
Like the amount of productivity increases that we could see from just like, hey, when I get this email that talks about X, do something or classify it like this. Like, I think we're the 5 years from now, 2 years from now, it's going to be like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's basically that. I mean, it's just organizations are basically that. Just take actions based on something happens. Do action A or B. And, that's most of it. Cool.
These are going to be some cool technical shorts that we're going to clip up in here and put them on YouTube about AI agents and if that, or just a bunch of if then that statements.
I think it's super cool. Actually, one thing I want to talk about today was on the stream was because yesterday you posted about one of our customers was using Jellypod in a way that for some reason I hadn't seen this before, but I thought it was so cool. Was they had a blog post about they do a blog, but for every blog post they embed our Jellypod player at the top, which is a podcast about the blog or about the post. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And it got me thinking about, we currently give you a website where you can host your episodes and your podcast, but we can totally expand that to a full website hosting service where you actually have an about page, your own, sections, and then you can have your own blog, which kind of ties to the podcast, which talks about, because some people prefer the mixed media, right? And, maybe it becomes it starts with the podcast, becomes but your whole site thing, So I just found that very interesting,
That was interesting. What was that? It was Three Rivers Energy.
I didn't want to say their name.
I just said their name.
secret, but
Because they're public. They're public. They have it on.
yeah, but yeah,
I
I mean,
wouldn't.
I thought that was a super cool use case, and they were using it. They were their consultants, and so they were using it for the website where they had these podcasts about renewable energy, which I listened to a couple of episodes, and they were like very interesting because obviously these guys are experts at this, and so they used the right sources and edited the script and everything, and so the podcast was super sounded professional and had great insights, and and they're putting on their website, so it's such an easy win for them because they can give that to their customers or their clients, on top of having blogs and stuff, and I think we've talked about this before about having how the podcast is the new blog, but why not both, right? So
Totally. Do you know these guys, Jason? No. Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
If you guys are listening, come talk to us.
Yeah.
Learn more
If
about
you want to hop on a YouTube video, please. Yeah.
Yeah, we should because this was cool. This was like one of the bigger people. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, most definitely. No, I think they're so interesting. The repurposing of content, but in like a cool new inventive way, because it kind of becomes net new, right? It's not just like reading. Sometimes you see who does this a lot, like The Atlantic maybe or NPR will have every article have like an audio track up top where you can like listen to it.
Yeah.
But there's just something different about the way you write for reading versus the way that you write for listening.
Yes, and that was the key for me because I have those audio overviews where you listening, essentially somebody reads out the blog for you, and I guess I can see that very useful for people who are have disabilities and stuff. Maybe or some people just want that, but I've never personally wanted that. For me, what is interesting is you actually have a pod or a different audio format, but for the same core content. So the blog can be more direct and like blah blah blah, but the audio can be more conversational where two hosts are talking about the topic, so that's why I thought that was powerful.
Right. It's the remixing stuff. It's cool. I mean, I think we should talk a little bit about like what happened this week. Like what did we push? So Bilal wrote like 8,000 lines of code. I'm going to give you the 8,000 lines there. Added 8,000, removed like 4,000. So
auto formatter helps a lot. Just like changes class name sorting. I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be but hopefully the site looks more nice on, especially on mobile. I'm excited because we invested some time to make it optimized for that, because we realize that we get a good chunk of you guys come on the mobile and we want to optimize that experience for you, and we changed some of the color schemes and stuff, and this is like a process. Some of the stuff you might not like, and we'll probably have a mini pivots, but overall just trying to make the experience smoother. So aside from we also added the ability to unpublish an episode, which now you can go, if you go to the episode, you can click edit info, and there's an unpublished button there in case you want to take it offline for a while. On top of, you already had the ability to change the published date retroactively if you wanted.
Right. So and the unpublished allows you then to like go back in and make a change if you published it and you accidentally messed up and you want to make something, right?
Yeah, and you shouldn't if you do it. If you do it within 30 days or something, which is a long time, but if you unpublish, you won't lose your audio or anything. You don't have to regenerate it there. So you can just go back to the draft state and you can edit from there.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, like a huge pain, when you make a video or make a photo, so say you post an Instagram photo, you add a sticker to it or something. Once you post it, it's burned in, right? So you're like, oh shoot, I wanted to add one more thing or I wanted to do something. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
So what's awesome here is just like from the beginning, we make it so that we store the information that goes into making it so that you can have, it's almost like a 30-day wiggle room, which is super cool. I wish I had that on everything.
Yeah. You know how many times like you proofread an email, you read it 5 different times. You're like, this is perfect. You send it right when you click send. You're like, wait, there's a mistake. It's always how it is. It's like, oh man, that's why the undo on the send
love that
inbox is like the best. But
Yeah,
so
it is
funny how
crazy.
that
I
happens.
wonder how Google, because Google does let you undo, right, within 30
It's
seconds
a
or
it's a
something.
setting if you turn it on. Yeah, I remember when that launched. It was
So I
pretty
wonder how
awesome.
that under the hood does it mean that it just doesn't send it, just queues it
Yeah,
up
yeah, it
for
just
Yeah.
doesn't send it for 30 seconds.
yeah. Interesting.
It's so interesting how email just
Yeah.
for so long, like it's a great example of how a protocol like SMTP was just, built in whatever 40 years ago. And
Mhm.
it's like the foundation of communication around the world. And the design choices that these engineers made for email like persist to this day. Like they were irreversible. And like the inability to, make these edits to these
Yeah.
messages. It's kind of crazy to think
It is
about. Like,
crazy how the small decisions they made at that point like impact us so much. I was reading about I don't know if you saw. So Spain had a massive outage
right,
where most of their IPs from Cloudflare, which Cloudflare hosts and Evercell, they went down in Spain, and the reason was because of IPv4. And because so there's two IP addresses: there's IPv4, which most of us use, and there's IPv6, which is a new format, which is like a lot more IP addresses. And the reason we have issues with IPv4 is because it was chosen in the 1960s, 70s when memory was a thing. Like, and so the person who chose it, and they actually regretted it later. They was like, "Oh, we don't need more than like 30 million or some number like that. We don't need more than that IP addresses." And so now they're obviously we've hit that limit. For at that time, it was a huge number, but it's not anymore. And so we need to move to IPv6, but obviously it takes time and stuff. And so what happens is the tying it back to what happened was that where we have to share IP addresses. So a lot of our sites share the same IP address if we go through Cloudflare or these services. And during football matches in Spain, football as in European soccer, a lot of people were illegally streaming them, and so they would ban those IP addresses. And so if they ban that IP address, but that IP address was also shared by 10 other people, and so their services would go down during the soccer match. And so it's crazy how these like choices, become bloom over into this. But yeah,
totally.
Yeah, it's funny that the earliest version of this would have been the phone number,
Right.
right? Like the 7 digits, like 10 to the seventh, like or less than that. What work? We don't need more than that.
yeah,
Or like a social security, right? It's 10 to the ninth or whatever, or 10th.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
Yeah.
at some point that'll also get exceeded, and
yeah.
then what?
It's super interesting. I remember when I was a kid that I didn't need to remember the area code of my parents' number. It was just like the 7 digits. And then eventually, yeah. Will there be a replay? A replay of this?
Yes,
Oh
there will
yeah,
be.
this will be recorded. Yeah, you can watch it.
Yeah.
You'll always find it in the live tab, even when it's not live.
Right. Right. So yeah, no, I mean, we got in the IP addresses are super interesting. We're all tech nerds over here. So if you had no idea what an IP address is, it's just a number that every device connected to the internet has. And there's some hacks that we've done over the years to allow sharing of those numbers and everything, but it's key to communicating over the web.
Absolutely.
Our version of this is host IDs. I think we have an 8-character host ID, so that would be what to the 36 to the 8th power. So if
Wow.
we make a lot of hosts,
Yeah. Well, that's like a goal to exceed that, I guess. Once we have that up, first will fall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, we make 2 per user now, so we have doubled
I
our
did
host
see that. So
generation.
yeah, that was pretty cool. So Jason made this change, which I thought was pretty cool. So now we used to have this one host called Eric Marquette, but now there's another one called. If you sign up, you get Eric Marquette and you get Ruth Stewart or I forget
Ruby Sturt.
Ruby Stewart. But it's I think it makes it more seamless for you to just click
He
them
was
and
very
start
lonely.
a conversation. Yeah, yeah. No. I thought that was a good change. I liked it for sure. And
Yeah, the interesting thing here is too because so Bilal last week we talked about this that when you're creating a podcast, you can now preview the host in conversation. So when you select your hosts, you want to hear right then how do these hosts sound like talking to each other. So you can click the preview conversation. you could hear the hosts talk to each other really quickly, like 30 seconds. But the interesting thing was that a lot of our users on the first time creating a podcast, they don't think about creating the host first. They just think about creating the episode series. And there's only the Eric Marquette default. There's only one. And because there's only one, you can't have a conversation between two hosts. So we saw in our dashboards and the metrics that there were a lot of people actually doing something called a rage click, which is essentially clicking on a button like a lot of times, expecting something to happen, but nothing actually happened. And we saw that happening there, that they wanted to listen to the conversation of Eric Marquette, even though there wasn't a conversation, another host. It was it was something that, we were too close to the product to understand that, oh, that's a logically, it makes sense for a user to want to click that button, even if there's only one person. So that's why now we have two hosts by default. So you can do that conversation between the male and female.
Yeah. And we've been talking about this, but we are one of the things, because we are so passionate about Jellypod, is we're always there. But the con of that is sometimes we don't realize.
Sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
Oh no. One of the cons is sometimes we don't realize what a new user would, what's their experience would be like. So if you guys have any issues and stuff, please feel free to reach out on Intercom or here and stuff. We're always listening. We're always sifting through all the feedback we're getting so we can make the product better.
Totally. I think it's a funny like us catching up with our own functionality, right? Like we said something. It's almost like we throw something ahead. It's like you throw the football before you have someone there to catch it, and then you have to run over and try to catch it. Because I think we added the one host because we wanted to encourage somebody to create a second host. But just the mental model is I want a podcast now. It's not I want to create a second host. So it seems like more the model is let me get something. Let me hear how two random people sound, and then let me swap in a different voice. Or then I can. It gets to the thing I think where it's so much easier to edit than it is to create from scratch. So when you get something, then you can be like, okay, I'm gonna even if you change 100% of it, it's easier to change 100% of something than it is to create 100% of something. Which is a funny, because it's the same exact activity for the most part. Right. No, it's actually more intensive because you have to read something.
Yeah, and no, for sure. And then speaking of editing, I know we did this change happened a couple of weeks ago, but the partial regenerations have been so cool. I'm seeing myself use them more and more, because it's kind of like one of those things becomes Jake Jevons paradox, where once you have it, you just use it more. So I've started maybe tweaking and stuff, whereas before I would be like, that's good enough, right? And so giving people that users that ability to just perfect each and every snippet of a script is just I think awesome. And I love the UX, the fact you edit it, it's yellow, and then click it, it's all right, boom, it's new again. So awesome. So I know Pearson's been battling with that. Was such a huge change. We're we've been changing a lot of stuff, so we obviously had a couple of bugs based on that, but I think that's smooth over now, and Pearson's been working hard on this, so it's awesome. There
are still a couple left, and for everyone watching who's we're working on it, and we're close to getting some out. So bear with us. We're just taking a 30-minute break to chat with you guys. Don't worry, we'll get right back to solving that thing. There's some interesting edge cases, as you might imagine.
Totally, there's a lot of interesting things to think about. For anyone out there that uses Safari, we've seen a higher frequency of errors on Safari just due to reasons unknown to us at the time. But if you're using Safari and you're facing some weird error, if you try Chrome and it works, that'd be awesome. But I know some people might just like Safari, and so we're looking to make sure that this works across all platforms. But that's a temporary bandage fix if you're on Safari. So yeah, and I know we're almost at time, but I wanted to share with the audience some cool things, because we spent a lot of time on dashboards and metrics this week. It was pretty cool. So we use internally a platform called PostHog to help us understand, how users are using our product. Shout out to them. But it gives us information about hey, what are people creating on the platform broken down by category? So do we see a lot of people creating, educational type of content, kids and parenting type of content, business, technology. And it's just been really insightful for us. So I kind of wanted to shout out a few metrics that, my assumptions were wrong about how people use the platform. Um, so the core thing here is like we have a bunch of different source types. You could add text, you can add URLs, you could add YouTube links, you could add audio files, PowerPoint, PDF, like almost anything you can kind of think of as a file type can be added. There are some things along the edges that I would like to get to in the future, but this text box when you're creating your episode is pretty much a universal, input. You can add anything, and we're going to do hopefully we're going to do the right sort of analysis of what you provided to extract the meaningful content. If you gave us a link, we know it's a link, and we're going to extract the content from the website. If you give us a YouTube video link, we know it's a YouTube video link. We're going to pull down that video and PDF and text. One of the big insights that I learned by really digging into the metrics here was that files were number one. It kind of made sense for a lot of us that, hey, we're going to upload a PDF, a PowerPoint, a spreadsheet or something like that. But number two was actually text. So a lot of people are adding just plain text into that episode box. I don't know off the top of my head if it's long form text or short form text, like create me a podcast on coffee. That's my go-to prompt. But it was surprising to me that I saw text as the second largest over URLs. So website links are actually aren't used as much for all of our users. And that was just a surprising insight I saw. We started off with URL being the first thing that we did, and we scraped that URL like a blog post. And it's only about 20% of the source types there. So I thought it was a cool thing to share with everybody. So if you're using URLs or you're not, or you're doing files, it's just cool to see how other people are using the platform. I thought it was useful to share.
That is really cool. It's cool that the thing we started with is third, and I remember so vividly because I think we added both text and files during the beta. Right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And I just remember the people like asking for both. I think PDF was the one that really people wanted the most on the doc.
PDFs.
What is it about PDFs?
It's funny how it always works. I think we think is important is not important, or as not as much important, and the thing we didn't think about or put it at the end turned out to be the thing.
Right. Totally, it was interesting. I like writing, and it's something that I've started to like writing more. When I was young, English was by far my least favorite class. I hated writing. I don't think I was a great writer as a kid. And as the years progressed, I think I became better of a writer. And it's something that comes with practice. And I don't know if you guys were able to take a look. When I did some of the post hoc metrics, I put in an essay or a small blog post that I'll post somewhere, either on my personal blog or whatever, about like how to approach building. I think it really funneled down like why certain things are important, and why data is so important here, because exactly this is like my intuition told me that I thought more people would put website URLs into JellyPod versus text. And that was wrong. And the only reason I knew that was wrong is that we have the data now to back it up. I had intuition, I had conviction, but I was wrong. And now that informs my decision-making process in the future. And so reflecting on that whole essay that I wrote was like, why did I think that thing? And how in the future can I not repeat that same mistake? Not the mistake that I was wrong and like what I thought was going to be the biggest use, but like what was the process that I went through in my head to come to that conclusion? Where in that logic was something wrong? Like I just didn't understand my customer well, our customer well enough, right? And so that whole essay was like, hey, like the success of JellyPod is going to rely on us 3 and 4, and as we grow, into each of us individually contributes a lot to success or failure of the company. And it's really like important to be like, hey, we're going to make a lot of decisions all the time, and hopefully a lot of the decisions just are right out of the gate because we have good intuition. We're going to be more accurate in sort of how we're spending our time. But then we come back to look at these dashboards and like, oh, I was wrong. I looked at this and now it wasn't the right thing to do with the data that we have. So I thought it was a cool thing. I'll post
Yeah.
that for everybody here. If you,
Yeah, no, I read. I thought that was a really cool. So I agree. I can actually see us, especially you person, like I can see you like heading up an engineering blog post, like one of those like resources here it goes viral on Hacker News. Like this is how we do things at Jellypod. This is how we scale to 1 million users. Using
right.
basically AWS. But
I was trying to for a while write one blog post a month. There's one, my favorite one I've ever written was called Technology is a Kitchen. And it kind of relates technology to cooking in the kitchen. And it really was talking about technical debt and how, like, as a chef, you have a clean kitchen and you have a lot of like pans and pots and everything. Everything's sorted. Everything's everywhere. You know where everything is. And if you want to make a nice dinner, you take out your pan, your pot, and you use it, and you can throw it in the sink. And to make that meal, you took on some debt of dirty dishes. And after you make that meal, you go and clean your dishes. But you don't have to. You can go and leave your dishes in the sink. And then tomorrow you make another meal, you put the dishes in the sink. And then the next day you make a meal, you put the dishes in the sink. You're still making the meal. But then that fourth day, you're like, oh man, I need that one dish that's on the bottom of my sink that has all these other dishes on top of it. I can't get to that dish. I took that dish out. I broke the glass. Now I have this mess that wouldn't have been there in the first place. And it's kind of relating something that a lot of people experience day to day in cooking to like technology. And I thought that was a cool one. I got some cool feedback on that.
Yeah, no, for sure. You gotta always like keep the hygiene stuff. One of my friends used to say, future me will thank me and to do the dishes or whatever, right? So
Right.
that's how you do.
Yeah. Sorry for everybody on the call. I know now we have a little bit more viewers, but I went on a rant about writing and technology. This was a little bit more tech focused one today. So maybe learn something. I think it'd be everyone. You never know what you're going to get on these weekly Wednesdays.
Yeah. And if you're an engineer, just know that other engineers really appreciate the refactorer, or in this case, the dishwasher.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the hardest thing. The hardest thing about cooking is dishwashing, which I think is what makes this analogy so good, because it's so fun just to make a good meal, but then to sit down and be reminded of the costs and the trade-offs is.
Well, Bilal wrote 8,000 lines of dishwashing, so I mean, you must like it a little bit.
I like it when Cursor does the dishwashing for me. That's my dishwashing.
Oh,
Helps a lot.
yes.
But yeah, no, it's
And then Cursor puts the bowl where all the spoons are supposed to be, and you're like, what are you doing?
No, I love it. Actually, Pearson suggested this to me, and so I started it up. I got Aqua Voice, which is and it's been so crazy. So Aqua Voice is this tool which lets you use speech to text on your MacBook or Windows, whatever. And so Pearson was like, "Oh, I use this tool," so I was like, "All right, I'll check it out." So I started editing, and I was like, I felt like Tony Stark, from Iron Man, because I would say, "Oh, can we add some padding here? Okay, let's move this function. Let's button this up." I felt like it was like, I'm so powerful. I'm just giving the direction, and the AI is doing it, which I was doing before with text. But there's something about just saying it and just seeing it happen in front of me. It was so powerful.
It's so wild. I'm just like, I hold my key down. I just talk to my mic that's right in front of me here, and then this code changes, and then the website changes, and you're like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
this is wild."
Yeah, I love the analogy the Descript CEO used, which it was like human beings. We're basically everything is converging to us becoming directors. So we used to be directors, but we also were the people who were doing the thing. And now the agents or the AI will do the thing, and we'll be more just directors. We'll just say, okay, do this, do that, instruct this, edit this video, edit this podcast, add this sound, etc., and that just happens for us. So I thought that was very powerful.
And I think it's such an important concept to drill down. I think if you're here, if you're using Jellypod, you kind of recognize AI. I think there's a lot of people out there that still today don't see the power of AI and like kind of being able to create more and to do more with the limited time you have. But like being a director is super cool because if you have, enough knowledge in some domain, or like you just know how to communicate in that, like you become so powerful because you don't need to be an expert. You can just be like, do I know enough to know when what the AI is giving me is, wrong or in the wrong direction, or like, hey, actually though, just saying sometimes to AI, like, make this better, or is there an alternative approach?
Hmm.
Just is so cool. It's like it, but you have to be able to be like, hey, I need to do that. I need to actually be like challenge what the AI says because I have enough knowledge to be like, it's not maybe exactly right.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. True.
cool.
Yeah, I don't envy the jobs of teachers right now and professors, right? Because it's like to live in a world where everybody's a director, but you still need to put in the time to learn what you just described, right? How do you make sure that the people, the next generation are actually are learning these things ahead of time and not, jumping too quickly.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
see that
there's,
with myself all the time, and I
yeah.
wish I knew
I
more
mean,
about the things that I'm trying to impact.
yeah, I'm old school in that sense, but I do believe in the concept of earning your stripes. Before you call the shots. I mean, you can get in trouble if you've never gone through the work of, okay, I did the grunt work at some point, so I understand, at some level what's going on, right? And it's interesting. I think of it as the curve is like, uh, there's this middle curve where AI gets good enough where it can do the thing, but then it fails 1% of the time, but you're not smart enough to understand what that 1% is, and that's when you get in trouble. And
Totally.
so do we fall in that little mid curve, or does it just hit escape velocity where that 1% becomes 0.001%? It doesn't really matter. So I think we'll find out within the next 12 to 24 months, I think, where AI goes with that.
And I think it's like at the end of the day, it's like that will always be the thing. Like AI, just people, like anything. It's like you have to be good enough to be prescriptive in what you want. Like it won't ever be able to read your mind. It might do something great, but what
Mhm.
what it did, even though it's great, it wasn't what you envisioned. So it's
Mhm.
like it's on you at the end of the day to direct this AI as a tool to manifest physically in the physical world what's in your head to reality. And that last 1% is the difference. I think hopefully you see it becoming less and less of an issue as AI gets smarter and you become lazier, which is fine as a user. I think you expect users to be lazy. They should be lazy. Your product should make their laziness work.
Right.
But the real power users are the ones that can double down. You'll see and like really understand where the AI kind of becomes like where its faults are and where it falls short, and just really drilling down into that area is where you can become 10, 100, 1,000 times more productive than the next person that's at one ring below you but just isn't pushing the bounds.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's like a customer that I recently talked to that I think this concept really came to like just really came to a head, which is when we say you can do more, that doesn't mean that you can now put out a million hours of podcasts and have a million hours of greatness. If anybody can create a lot of good podcasts, really the whole point of what we're doing here is that we're removing all the technical barriers so that it's just all of your creativity, right? So if you put in an hour of creativity, more of it comes out. You put in 10 hours of creativity, more of it comes out. So I actually see AI not like like all of a sudden freeing people to do things in a minute, but allowing people to just spend time doing the thing that makes their thing that much better and not wasting their time on the hair pulling frustrations of technical details. So
Yeah.
to give you some more context, we'll have the video coming out soon. But there is a doctor who he started producing his podcast on JellyPod, and his YouTube is like 6x'd since doing this, which is awesome. But what I thought was the coolest was the work that he's putting in. He's aggregating a lot of really interesting, really niche research, but then presenting it in a way that's meant to educate the public. And he's putting in a lot of he's putting in probably an hour per episode that would take him days or weeks, but he's still putting in that hour to make sure that things are being said and the research is being pulled in the right way. And that doesn't mean that like there's hallucinations. It's not that at all. He actually loves that it's pulling in just accurate information. But he's just putting in the time to make it that much better. And the results are showing, right? His YouTube channel went up 6x.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, that's super cool. I went to a conference this past weekend, and just to shout this out, the email blast, I see it is delivering right now. So it was it's now delivering. So we're seeing a spike in our audience now at the end, and we're over time too. So thanks everybody who's coming in late. It was our bad. We got stuck up in an email delivery queue, but I went to a conference this past weekend at UCLA, Jason and I's alma mater, and it was called Bruin AI, and it had a lot of conversations about like AI and responsible AI. There are some directors from Microsoft and Meta and Amazon, and a lot of the focus that I talked to a lot of students on was about creativity, and we talked about how like there was just one student who uses Blender, which is a 3D modeling software, to create worlds, objects in like just like how video game designers create objects for their video games in like a 3D object modeling software. It's very powerful, very cool, but it's very difficult. The learning curve is hard. But she wants to create this thing. She spends tens of hours on YouTube watching how do you extrude an edge? How do you make this corner less rounded? All these things that in a world where you can be just prescriptive and say, hey, make this corner rounded or make this side green. You could focus more on getting just the creativity part, and then you can do more. So it's not, rather than spending 5 hours figuring out how to do this one tiny thing that you want to do, you spend a few minutes, and now you can spend the 5 hours doing all these other things that would have just extended the duration of that project. So now that condenses down. There was another conversation with a head of Lucasfilm. If anyone's Star Wars fans out there, I know Andor came out yesterday. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Didn't get to watch it yet, so no spoilers. But they were talking about the Death Star explosion scene and how like CGI would have, or AI would have just completely changed a lot of Hollywood for the better, because how Hollywood works today in CGI, it's like you go to a CGI company, they produce one or two expensive mock-ups of the scene. You as the director are kind of like, hey, I want, some missiles going down and the Death Star exploding. They'll give you two mock-ups, like, hey, which one do you like better? Then you're like, I like this one better. They'll go and put the finishing touches on it and they ship it. And that'll take a month. It'll be really expensive. But imagine a world where that process gets brought up, where the director himself can use a tool like Sora or whatever to create 50 versions and iterate quickly on that process. And then give to that CGI team, like, hey, this is exactly the vision. Now make this like that best thing ever. But the iteration process comes up and it becomes much more cheaper to get out to a high quality solution.
Mhm.
So I thought it was really cool. That was an awesome snippet I heard from.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So
very cool. Just want to give some shout outs to the folks popping out in the chat. Hyperdeep. Thanks for joining. We should get your case study out soon too. Really cool retired doctor with sort of a vision for wellness.
Nice.
Then we've got Sneaker Auction. Hey
Sneaker. Or do you go by Mr. Auction?
It's Mr. Auction to you. And then we've got Oscar from Sydney.
Hey, Oscar.
Hi, Oscar.
Hey.
Thanks for joining. I think Oscar I spoke to during the beta period, right pretty early on, I think.
Cool. Thanks for staying around. I love it. It's super cool.
It's cool to see the names crop it back up.
Yeah. Well, I know we're super over time today. We just were Snakes. Oh, Sneaker Auction goes by Snakes. What's up, Snakes?
Snakes. Nice.
Yeah, but I know we've taken up a lot of your time, and it kind of sucks. We started off a little bit on the slower end, and we got into some technical stuff like IP addresses and all this crazy things. So if you're joining now at the end of the stream, watch. It'll be recorded. It's posted on YouTube. We do this every Wednesday. I think next time we'll send out the weekly Wednesday maybe at 9 instead of the email a little earlier.
Hey,
Eric Olson.
wow, we're getting a bunch of people now. But yeah, it's
Hello, John. Oh, John too. Nice. Everyone's coming in. It's great. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that I remember that very vividly, and the hard part is not going overboard. Like the last long form video was about, I think, 11 minutes long. So yeah, no, your feedback was really well taken. I'm not sure if you noticed, but all the long form videos are now at least, I shoot for 10 minutes on every single one now for the long form.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thanks, Sneaks.
So, yeah, and John's here. Great. And yeah, we would love it. So Jason's putting in a lot of work on all these YouTube videos. If you guys, obviously everyone's here on YouTube. So I'm assuming most people are subscribers, but if you're not, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, comment on the video after the recording goes live. It really helps us. This is really fun. This kind of weekly Wednesday format. I don't know how you guys are thinking, but I enjoy this conversation a lot because we get to like chat. And on other days around the week, it's like much more, we're drilling down on like what we're doing and like, are the things we're doing working? Are they not? What do you want to do? And it's like all that stuff. But this is like kind of fun. We get to chat and just, this is my favorite hour of the week by far.
yeah, for sure. It's really fun connecting with the users and just talking about random stuff.
Totally. Sorry, Pradeep, this is not my new background. This is I'm part of this founders group in Seattle called Foundations, and this is their background. But I did bring my mic into work today. Today's bring your mic to work today. Work day. Because it's part of the virtual brand now. I can't have this thing not sticking out.
Wow, look, we have 38 people on right now.
Wow.
Oh, whoa, that's a record.
That's crazy. Okay, well,
the emails are finally hitting. So yeah, fun fact for everyone who just joined. Thank you so much. Clearly the emails, now I'm going to just schedule them to like ensure. So this was hitting, they were scheduled for 9:45. It's an hour delay. So it'll be at least an hour. So the reason why I shot it so close today was because I was hoping to get people, if we can get you right 15 minutes before, you have a higher chance of just seeing the email and immediately clicking into the live stream.
But I mean, it's fine. But I want to, because we have gotten a surge of you. Let's do a quick fire round before we go. Like, let's take 5 minutes, and if we can answer any questions for you guys. So I see.
Whoa,
87 people. Let's go.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is kind of wild.
I mean, this is like it's usually like 20 or something. So did we just get a surge of all?
Are we being brigaded? Are we being attacked?
Or maybe wait. What if this always happens because we usually leave at the half-hour mark? So what if like people just always got the email like 20 minutes late, and they showed up and it was like
no. I checked the email before everything to make sure I checked the delivery rates before every weekly Wednesday. But
delivery's not open. Rates.
Sorry, I checked the delivery just to make sure, because we don't see open rates in resend.
Right.
So I just want to see that it got to them, because I treat the subject line in your inbox as sort of my like hello. But okay, what should we talk about now for the 61?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just like, if you sorry, I know guys who joined, we were just about to wrap up, but if you have any questions, please, like, this is the time. Let's we want to make sure we answer your questions, so put them in. I saw one. Eric had a question. We can probably address.
Let's do it.
So audio plays. I like this idea. This is really cool. Create audio plays in JailPod. Eric, so I'm guessing when you say like Shakespearean type plays or like play acts. So we've talked about multiple users before having more than two, I guess, and it's something we'll probably, I guess we'll do at some point. The question is like how much demand there is. So this is good to know, that you want to do this. We can, I think Jason's mentioned before, if it's not ideal, but you can start with two hosts, generate a script, then go and change the host, and then partially regenerate blocks, right?
I think
that's
it's on the list.
This is an interesting thing. we hear it a lot. People want more than 2 hosts. So just to give you a background why we limit it, we had some technical challenges getting it to more than 3. It's not an easy scale up, and we could guarantee that there's a higher quality of scripts generated with 2 hosts. That's just like at the high level what it was. But we've learned some things since then, and we think that in the near future, pretty near future, we're going to be able to scale that up to multiple hosts. I personally have the opinion that we shouldn't allow for more than 4 hosts. We have never tested beyond that. I've barely tested on 4. And we want to make sure that the defaults that we give you as a user when creating that script are great. And writing a play and a script is with a lot of different characters is hard. And I don't know. I hope it is, but I don't know if AI can get there yet. So I'm not sure. So we're entering into uncharted territory. But we would like to see in the very near future more than 2 hosts, and that's something that's coming down. And because you're saying this here and you're on this call, and like this really impacts how we think about what to prioritize. There's metrics that we look at. We have internal conviction on what we should do. But for somebody to be here like you, Eric, and say this and come in the middle of your day, it matters a lot to us. The other part too is about switching out characters. We'll see some improvements on that at the episode level as well.
Yeah.
So I know I just went on a rant, but
no, this is a great. And
I think there's go.
No, I was just gonna say, I think there's a happy marriage of giving you good defaults, but then giving you the option to extend that functionality on your own. So we'll probably experiment that. Also, just quick shout out, 371 people. What the hell?
371 people.
Really? Is this real? I mean, I don't know. Are
It's
these
not
just
real. It's not real. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Yeah.
I want to do something because I was going to save this for next week because they haven't arrived yet.
Oh no! Yeah, no, definitely show it. These people deserve it. The people who came deserve it.
People who came to see, we got some swag here. We got hats, and next week I think we'll all have them on. But we got some
sneak peek.
GellyPod swag.
The sneak peek on the merch. Every company, every tech company becomes either a merch company or a email company. You get 2 choices, and we chose merch first.
And if any of you guys want jelly merch, let us know if we can set something up in terms of like prizes or just
Totally some jelly merch.
Yeah.
But Bilal, you took the words out of my mouth. Like you nailed it. I think there's the balancing of make sure the default is this awesome bedrock of quality, as Pearson said, but then allowing people to extend, in the script, right? It's very common for people to say, hey, I just want one person to come in and ask a few questions, right? Ask a few questions of the hosts. We could totally enable that without needing to be too sophisticated up front. So things like that, I think, open up some cool opportunities for people to add in new characters outside of the baseline.
Right.
But let's see some other questions. Let's see. How do we miss you guys? MB so late to the live. Seems like a lot of fun folks are joining now. Yes, a lot of folks are joining. We're at 463. This is exciting. This is our biggest live stream yet. It's because the email.
I just want to know what happened. Did we get featured in something? Like is this a huge jump? So
maybe YouTube. Maybe there was a spike, and then YouTube pushed us to.
Oh,
I don't know.
I think it's for sure YouTube, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think it all happened when everyone started to say hi in the chat. So I wouldn't be surprised that if user engagement in the chat causes your stream to appear higher on YouTube's own queue. So I would bet good money that it was the email that got our people in there.
Is there a way to see a breakdown of how many people are watching us on YouTube versus either Twitch or I don't know how many other channels?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it does. 433 YouTube, 4 from X. So it's mostly YouTube. Okay.
Okay. Those 4 Xers though, they're carrying the platform on their backs.
And Oscar is here at 3:53 a.m. That's crazy. I don't know what you do, Oscar. I think Jason talked to you. Wait.
He's a doctor.
Doctor.
Wow. He's a doctor. I forget what his specialty was. There's a lot of doctors who use JellyPod. How do we miss you guys? Yeah. So just know the email will go out sooner. So we'll get people up, the core JellyPod folks on sooner. And maybe we need to stay on the live stream a little longer when things go well. So there's that. All right. Should we answer Pradeep's question?
Yeah. Audio issue. It's interesting. Pradeep, sorry about this. Most people, so I kind of mentioned this earlier. I don't know off the top of my head what browser you're using, but if you're seeing some weirdness in the audio,
he's on Chrome. He's on, yeah. We've done the Chrome thing. It's a regeneration thing. People working on it. It's hard when issues are like broad and they hit a lot of people. It can be easy to figure out what the issue is. But when something is very small, it's like a needle in a haystack. And the smaller it is, the more frustrating it is for everybody involved. And that's what's kind of happening here. But we're
actively working on this. So just know that it's very high priority, the highest.
Brews and Whispers, we will send the email out from here on out. We'll send it an hour before, so that if we ever get caught in the queue trap again, it'll for sure deliver at least by 10 a.m.
Yeah, and we don't have to go through all these comments here. I know some of them, but yes, let's look at Sneaker Auction, Mr. Sneaks or Sneaks. One feature I'd like to have is host tee up commercial breaks. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Are you doing this? I'm curious if you're doing this already today with text editing, or if it's something you just kind of want the.
Yeah. And by the way, Sneaks, you can do that because it's kind of hidden. But you can, if you have a commercial like a file or something, you can actually drag it in between blocks, and it'll be there. So you can upload intro transitions. Is I guess the word we're using for that. So on top of the intro and outro, I think we need to make that more obvious that you can just add any type of media in between any block, not just intro and outro. And we'll probably clean that up.
Yeah. So just punch in just like type in the sentence that you want them to say to tee it up, and then just copy or just drag and drop the audio file. It's pretty sweet.
Right. And just to call this out, now that we have so many people, it's like now if you drag and drop the audio file and you publish your video and you realize you want a different audio file, you can now unpublish. So Bilal did some work on unpublishing, and you can then make changes after publishing now. Much easier than messaging Jason and help.
Yes, but I do love all your messages, and literally every waking moment is spent on being engaged with all of you, because I love it. And thanks, Eric, for the shout out for the video. Yeah, I tried my heart. I just wanted to be as honest as possible, and truly, I set out a purpose to make a video that I wanted to see, or a podcast that I wanted to see, and I put them side by side. And NotebookLM is a fantastic tool, and we were actually working on this before NotebookLM launched audio overviews. But they were, an absolute godsend to us, because our private beta list jumped up because all of a sudden AI podcast went from being an unknown concept to being something. So we love NotebookLM, and we just think that there's an awesome world where both are used in very unique ways.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Steven, maybe can you give a closer insight about the audiogram problems and music integration as intro topics? This is kind of what we mentioned from Pradeep here. There's a small subset of users that we need to fix some of these audio issues. For some reason, sometimes after you save and you come back to this episode, it says that you have to regenerate audio, and we're working on this right now. So
a lot of the problems were mitigated. So hopefully, if you try again, maybe they'll be fixed.
Yeah, I think just to give people a sense for the complexity, it's just now that every audio file can be, can be regenerated and exists on its own, and that combining with any text character can be edited on its own, and then the whole thing auto saves, right? So you have all these different permutations of things that could be happening all at the same time. And so just give people a context as to why some of these things do crop up at this, kind of randomly. Some shout outs. Oscar, if anybody was curious about who Oscar was, he's a psychologist. Yeah. I knew he was a doctor, but didn't know which one. Mary, she likes the merch. I'm giving people shout outs because anybody that shows up at our chat, I just love that. Like, it's just, as you said, Pearson, to take time out of your day to not only watch, but to say hi and just to add some content into our stream makes the most. Eric shared that he saw it on YouTube, which is cool. Homepage. We made it. We made it to homepage, guys.
That's awesome. Wow.
For some people, it's all, algorithmically driven.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
Yeah, I think we had a couple of questions about unpublished again. So, Oscar asked about the unpublished. Yeah, so we have the unpublished feature now, and where if you publish something and you can unpublish it, and it'll go back to the draft state, and you won't lose any data, so you can tweak it as much as you like and republish. Pradeep had a follow up to that about if you pull back from Spotify and Apple. So it does. Pearson knows more about this, but it will RSS is like it will not show up in the RSS if you unpublish, because that's based on your published episodes. So
Correct.
it'll just be pulled back.
So to give a little bit of background into how publishing to these platforms work, traditionally and how we do it is you have this centralized RSS feed. So when you're on JellyPod, everybody gets a custom website and you get an RSS feed with that website. RSS is just a format that is easily understood by all these platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, as a source of truth of your podcast. So when you unpublish on JellyPod, we essentially will remove that episode from your RSS feed. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, these guys are constantly monitoring your RSS feed, and they will reflect the most recent RSS feed in those platforms. So it might take a little bit of time. Usually it happens in under an hour. Once in a while, I've seen it take longer, but if you unpublish something, it should be unpublished on your custom website immediately, and then it will be unpublished on all the platforms very shortly after, once those platforms pick up your change. So don't use publishing and unpublishing as necessarily like, don't do it all the time, because you have to wait to create your video and do all this stuff. It takes some time to do, but it does give you that flexibility if you publish and you notice a mistake a little after.
And you can also we have a scheduling feature as well. So not just for this, but you can schedule something out at a certain time, and that gives you that buffer if you ever want to tweak it, or just to optimize for when you feel like your audience is going to be getting up in the morning, or whenever is going to be the optimal time for them to receive your podcast.
Totally, because it's really cool. I don't know, like, I'm assuming everybody on this call listens to podcasts also versus creating them, but I subscribe to some podcasts on Spotify, and when a new episode goes live, I get a notification on my phone. So it's like, not only is this like cool that you're creating content, you kind of have a channel to a lot of your potential audience, to ping them a little bit if they have notifications on. So scheduling an episode for the right time in the future. If you create it at 10 a.m., but you maybe want to go out at 4 p.m. for everyone's daily commute home from work or something, that you can do that now. So
yeah,
totally. Yeah, great shout on this. I think like very clearly for the people that are new here, Bilal started 3 weeks ago and has already crushed an incredible amount of stuff that people are loving. Scheduling that we just talked about, publishing that are in the comments, voice previews, bringing the magic of audio to the very beginning of the flow, and forcing us to make big changes or new changes to the product to catch up. So Bilal is doing amazing things to push us ahead. And
thank you.
Yes. So I'm not sure.
It's kind of cool because we had a call with somebody the other day, and it was like he found us on YouTube. He was just lurking and watching these weekly Wednesdays, and he didn't even use the product. He just was coming here and was watching what we're talking about. And he's like, I love how it was like the team's growing. It's so cool to see the journey. So that's honestly the reason why we do these. I think the comments have kind of slowed down now, and we're taking up a lot of everyone's day. But just super appreciative of everybody here. But the reason why we do this is like, hey, want to give you a little bit of inside look, candid conversation about what happened in the last week, what we're trying to do, and kind of influence what we're trying to do. So everybody that's leaving comments here,
Yeah.
we'd have a roadmap right after this. We talk
Yeah,
about
and I feel like you guys are on this journey with us, and so we'll you as much as you can kind of nudge the direction of this product based on your feedback. We want to make this the greatest thing ever, right? But there's a million ways to do it, and we're basing, for us, we are a data driven company, so we look at your comments, your feedback, and that's what shapes our roadmap and where we want to go.
Totally. And just so everyone knows what it is, because now I realize that with 400 people on this live stream, I'm guessing the majority of people actually don't know what JellyPod is. So JellyPod is an AI podcast studio, it is a software platform that you can log into and you can start for free, jellypod.ai, and you can create AI podcasts, which is really just a regular podcast, two people talking to one another, but it's entirely generated by you and your own opinions and your own thoughts. You start with either text, a URL, a document, or a bunch of them. You process this into an outline, a story that you're trying to tell, a vision that you have. And then finally, you get a script that you fine tune, potentially add some ads into, as one of our people in the chat said, or edit how you want. And then you publish. And that gets off to Spotify, it gets off to YouTube, it gets off to Apple, RSS feeds, custom URLs, embed players that you can add to your website. So really just the full service end-to-end experience of creating quality podcasts
In your own voice and your own brand. Yeah.
your own brand.
Yeah. And the big twist is all three of us are actually AI.
There is
This
no
is an AI podcast. You've been jelly potted. We're real.
You've been potted.
Yeah.
You've been potted. Any more questions from anybody that we can answer as we sit here? I mean, there's a lot of people, like anything at all, don't worry. And even if you just want to say hi, I think now we've got people who've raised their hand. We haven't heard from Franny. Franny, I hope Franny's
okay.
there.
I hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay, Franny. If you don't say something, we might have to check in on you. But everybody else, I mean, thank you so much. Say hi. I know we got lots of people from people who've spoken in. We got UK, US, Canada, Poland, Australia. We've got John. We've got Eric saying hi. But thank you so much, everybody who's here.
Totally. Well, I think it would be it's perfect to call it today. We do these every week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I know we'll get some stragglers here in the comments. We'll answer these next time, Eric. But B-roll is something that we have on the roadmap here, so keep an eye out for that. But thanks everybody for joining. It's been an awesome time, and we do this every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Hop on the stream. We'll send out that email again, so you guys can all can join. But yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Take care, guys.
Cool.